Okay, I know I analyze video game characters, their personalities, their stories, and even entire game genres. But there's no way I'm touching this mess. Instead, I'm gonna analyze how Kingdom Hearts relates to you and I. My people, it's actually happening. Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna be released around the world soon. The end of an era that entranced an entire generation of kids across the globe. Kids that are now fully grown people, with jobs and responsibility. People who look back on this game fondly for the childhood warmth it ignites in our memories. People who will now see this adventure come to a close with the final game in the series. As I eagerly await to see how this era will come to a close, I realized something. Kingdom Hearts is nostalgia. And that's not a bad thing. I'll explain why, but first let's address how it is nostalgia. Kingdom Hearts has significant nostalgic value for several reasons. The concept alone is pure nostalgia bait. The game lets you revisit and interact with classic and cherished Disney characters. You can fight Hercules in the Olympic Coliseum, fight alongside Tarzan in the African jungle, fly with Peter Pan in the London night sky, look for Pinocchio— actually I hated that level, never mind. It was exciting to discover what Disney worlds this game would let you visit, all while keeping a really fun combat system, one that was different from the usual turn-based action Final Fantasy is known for. Speaking of which, Disney wasn't the only nostalgia bait in the game, because you also got to see some of your favorite Final Fantasy characters make a return in glorious 3D. You know, 3D that doesn't make you look like a bag of polygons. For real, how many of you lost your shit when you saw Cloud make a comeback? Granted, I do think this is a little too DeviantArt OC for me. But point is, Kingdom Hearts is a big love letter to the Disney and Final Fantasy franchises that we've come to love, while also keeping its own unique identity through its story. And that's the second reason why Kingdom Hearts is nostalgia. It is one of the longest running franchises in gaming, with a story that has remained a convoluted mystery throughout its entire running. We've been following the tale of Sora, Riku, Kairi, and even more beloved characters for years now, dating all the way back to the initial release of the first game in 2002. We were blown away by the utter creativity and fun this game had to offer. Disney and Final Fantasy edginess? Take my mother's money. Trust me, that joke will make sense in a minute. This game captured our attention and has held it for literal years as we patiently waited for any news of Kingdom Hearts 3. For those of you who have had no interaction with the series, consider this. The first Kingdom Hearts game was released in 2002. Following that was the second main title in the series, Kingdom Hearts 2, released in 2005. As you would expect, the next main title game in the series would be Kingdom Hearts 3, set to release on January 29, 2019. That is 14 years. 14 years of waiting, analyzing, hoping, speculating, all in anticipation for this game, which will finally conclude the series and give us some sense of finality with a franchise that has used its mystery to hook us as kids. In order to give you some perspective of what those 14 years looks like, let me talk about my experience real quick. I was 9 years old when I finished Kingdom Hearts 2. I am currently 23 years old. I went through high school and college waiting for this game, and I am not the only one who has gone through significant life changes in that time frame. Therefore, it's understandable why fans who have been there from the beginning of the series are going to feel nostalgic when it comes to it. We played the first two iterations of the game as children and are now seeing this title we've grown up with return to give us one last adventure, with an older version of the protagonist, which mirrors our own growth alongside them. Huh. Sup, hero? I haven't heard from you in a while.
Okay, so actually, you haven't been waiting 14 years for the next Kingdom Hearts games. That's bullshit. Come on, if we're gonna be real, we have to admit that they've been releasing several games in between Kingdom Hearts 1 up until now.
But
I'm gonna drop some real knowledge on you now. How's about Birth by Sleep, Chain of Memories, Dream Drop Distance, Union X, 358 over 2 days? So clearly, you're not a real Kingdom Hearts fan. You know what? I bet you didn't even play Coded when it came out for the Japanese cell phone.
okay. First of all, no one gave a fuck about that game and just saw the summary in the HD collection, aight? Second, although these games are considered important entries into the series, I would argue that they were used more to hype up the third game in the series. Without spoiling anything, each of these games provided more context and details of the story, as a sequel should do, but were all meant to build up to the same climactic conclusion we are expecting in the third game. The simple name changes alone keeps us from unconsciously associating these other games as the next main title game. Chain of Memories was not intended to be considered Kingdom Hearts 2, despite it being a continuation of the story that started in Kingdom Hearts 1. It merely served the role of providing more context and hyping up the events we would end up seeing come to fruition in Kingdom Hearts 2. So screw you, we have been waiting 14 years for the next main title and are feeling hella nostalgic about it, fight me. Now, I've been throwing around the word nostalgia a lot throughout this video, but we have yet to establish what it actually means to experience nostalgia. Nostalgia is actually a relatively new field in the study of social psychology, with Dr. Seti Kides being considered a pioneer of the field after being inspired in 1999. Fun fact, nostalgia actually used to be considered a disorder similar to depression, because longing for some place or something significant to your past clearly wasn't meant to be a normal human behavior at all. Well shit, imagine if these old 17th century doctors came into contact with millennials. Trust me sirs, we have a lot of legitimate issues to be depressed about, like this, or this. Fondness for a game ain't one of them. This is why scientific research is important before making any conclusions, my people. But enough of that. The actual research has determined that people focus on various specific features when it comes to nostalgia, such as memories, personal meaning, childhood, and sensory triggers. These features mainly consisted of positive things, and have been reported to result in feelings such as comfort, warmth, calm, or loneliness, with warmth being the highest rated feeling. So taking this into account, a good definition for nostalgia is sentimentality for the past, typically for a particular period or place, with positive associations. Sounds about right, and Kingdom Hearts fits this. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they delayed the release of Kingdom Hearts 3 to take advantage of this. As psychiatrist Neil Burton put it, nostalgia is rather paradoxical. It reminds us of our meaningful experiences, but also their lack of texture, thus leaving us with a desire to fill that emptiness again after recounting those fond memories. You may still have access to the games you played as a kid, but you'll never be able to experience it for the first time again. It's this desire to revisit that ideal time in our lives that often gets taken advantage of by corporations for their advertising. Video game developers are hella guilty of this. Just look at Crash Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And Kingdom Hearts is no different. They know Kingdom Hearts 3 is one of, if not, the most anticipated game ever. Therefore, do you think it's just a coincidence that they made several HD collections in preparation for such a release? And for those of you who are not aware of the ridiculousness that are these HD collections, then let me guide your virgin soul. You got the HD 1.5 collection, which holds 2 games and a movie recap of one of the other games. When this came out, I was like, oh, that's so nice of them to gather all the games on a collection so like we can have them all on a single current gen platform. Seems all good, right? Then 2.5 came out with the same setup, just using other games in the series. Oh, okay, you know, getting the remainder of the games in the collection. Makes sense to make a separate one, you know, you can only fit so much on one CD after all. And then came the HD 1.5 plus 2.5 collection. Both collections, one price, one current gen console. Okay, just combine them for the sake of convenience. It makes sense, but why not do that from the beginning? Oh, but it doesn't stop there, cause then you have Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. This lovely edition includes the last 2 games that were left out, and the equivalent of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Essentially a glorified demo for Kingdom Hearts 3 that ties to the story. You're just really trying to bank on the fact that we'll spend anything on the series as long as it's connected to the 3rd game, huh? Now you see, having a collection available is convenient for people who want to jump on this franchise with all the hype surrounding the 3rd game. But it also allows us older players to reconnect with the series that previously we had to bust out our old PS2s, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo DS's to enjoy. And I believe Square Enix understands this, which is why they released 1.5 and 2.5 separately before deciding to combine them. Because they know we'll spend the money to fill in the emptiness our nostalgia leaves behind. That, and we want to support the franchise while also having all the games in a convenient package, but nostalgia is the topic of the video. Hell, just look at the box artwork for Kingdom Hearts 3. It's an obvious homage to the artwork from the first game, but with our protagonists matured. The same protagonists we've been following for 17 years since their debut. If this isn't nostalgia pandering, then I don't know what is. What Square Enix has done by delaying the release of Kingdom Hearts 3 is that they have allowed us to associate Kingdom Hearts with the warmth and comfort of our childhood. Nostalgia often involves having a fondness for an ideal time in our lives, a time in which we remember with positive sentimentality, and thus we associate that positivity with ourselves. The joy that this game brought us as children is a fond memory that reminds us of a time in which things were okay in our lives, a time when we were happy. This is why nostalgia is so powerful to the point that people feel directly attacked when you criticize the target of it, claiming that you're ruining their childhood when that's just not true. Nostalgia can also be the reason why people tend to turn a blind eye to the glaring issues with this game, such as the writing and the voice acting. But regardless, no one's ruining anything, because whatever joy you grabbed from life is yours. Those memories, those experiences, they're not going anywhere. And nostalgia simply helps remind you of that fact. Kingdom Hearts is nostalgia, and that's not a bad thing. Nostalgia is almost necessary, to be honest. It provides us with perspective on our lives. It reminds us of meaningful experiences we've encountered, which, in turn, gives us strength to look forward to what life has to offer next, knowing that what we experienced was truly special. If you enjoyed this video and haven't done so yet, then please consider subscribing to the channel and perhaps sharing this with a friend. Kingdom Hearts, no pun intended, holds one hell of a special place in my heart, and I just hope I managed to convey that through this video. This truly will mark the end of an era, and I eagerly await to see how. And as always, my people, thank you for watching.